Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into Awesome Sunday Show. Before we get started, we'd like to tell you where you can find us.
You can find all of our episodes, including new content like blogs and guest blogs, on our newly launched website, awesomesundayshow.com.
Woohoo!
Our podcast is also available on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. You can find all those links also on awesomesundayshow.com.
You can also follow us on our social media accounts, twitter.com/awesomesunshow, facebook.com/awesomesundayshow, and instagram.com/awesomesundayshow.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Awesome Sunday Show. Connor here.
And Pat as well.
Pat, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Doing all right. Can't complain. It's nighttime out. It's a little dark, but
Nice and warm today.
yeah, it was 98 out today at the highest.
Damn.
I think so. Maybe. Might be. It was definitely not below 95. I can tell you that. And it was a nice day. And I got out of work at like 7 o'clock.
Not bad.
Or no, 6 o'clock. Yeah, 6 o'clock. I got out of work.
And worked extra hard on your biceps.
Yeah, today. Yeah. That's why I spent the whole day at work. It missed a nice day, so I was extra pissed. So I had to let out some steam.
And you got to beat Nick Snyder.
Of course, I'm already bigger than him, but I can't let him catch up.
It's good.
Yeah.
Good. It's the method of competition. Anyway, before we get into the show, Connor, you want to give a shout out to somebody?
Yeah, so our first Patreon subscriber, I want to give a special thanks to. Her name is Brian, and I'm not going to say what tier she's on right now, just because
It's like $1,000.
Yeah, it's actually $1 million a month. We have one donor. If we got $1 million a month, we would never need another donor again. I would feel bad asking people for money.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you very much for being our first Patreon subscriber.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Much
I'm sorry.
appreciated.
It's not. Was it Patreon or was it Patron at Podbean?
Patron at Podbean.
I apologize. Let me rephrase that. It was patron at podbean.com, which is essentially just like Patreon, but it's just another vessel for you to
Yeah, just a different website.
Yeah, for you to give to us if you feel like you want to. Some people do Patreon, some people do Patron at Podbean. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Brian.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much. And if you want to donate to us and, become a Patreon subscriber, you just go to patreon.com/awesomesundayshow, or you can go to patron.podbean.com/awesomesundayshow. Both those links you can find in the description and on our website, awesomesundayshow.com. There's a whole variety of rewards that you can get up there, and, it starts at $1, or you can donate as much as you want. Obviously, the higher you go, the better rewards you get.
Of course.
And there's even opportunities for us to bring you on the show.
Yeah.
So, check it out at those websites we just said before. And if you become a patron, you get a shout out. I promise.
We do promise. Well, Pat promises.
I promise.
Yeah. So, I'm out of trouble if anything happens.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna be talking about a couple different topics today, but before we do, we want to tell you who this show is brought to you by, and this episode is sponsored by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly mystery crate that delivers the best in geek and gaming gear, from collectibles, apparel, tech gadgets, art, and other epic gear. It's like Comic-Con in a box, and we love Comic-Con even though we've never been. We love what happens at Comic-Con, and we hope to go there.
It's my dream to go there.
Mine too, and Patreon, we get a certain amount of money. We could afford to go there and give you great content from there.
Yeah.
But going back to Loot Crate, like I said, it's a monthly subscription box service for all the epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear. And listen, for less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. And you have a lot of time to sign up before you miss that month. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. You can't get those items anymore for that month. And you know what? I bet you'll be disappointed because every month they do anywhere between 1 to like maybe 4 different themes. So all the items in that box are centered around those themes. They've had themes such as Rick and Morty, Guardians of the Galaxy, which we did a review on. You could check it out. You know where to
you
go.
can check the spoiler-free review on awesomesundayshow.com, or you can go to pretty much anything you can listen to a podcast or awesomesundayshow.com to listen to the spoiler review.
Right. They've done DC, Marvel. They've done anime stuff. They always do really cool stuff every single month. And you know what? It's a really good deal. They have different options you can do. You do 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and a year subscription. And I believe with the year subscription, you get a free T-shirt. It's pretty great. It's a great deal. And you know what? For you, our Awesome Sunday Show listeners, we are going to give you 10% off your subscription. And all you have to do to get that 10% off, which is exclusively for you guys because we love you, you go to trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10 to save 10% on any new subscription. That's trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10 to save 10% on that new subscription. And you get to get a whole bunch of awesome stuff every month. Thank you, Loot Crate. And guys, you take advantage of that deal.
That sounds like a sweet deal to take advantage of there, Pat. But we also have a second sponsor. Do you want to know who it is?
I do.
All right. 1 second. One more second. Okay, so yeah, today's show is also brought to you by Gamefly.com. You can sign up for a premium free 30-day trial. That's one game out, specifically for the listeners of Awesome Sunday Show. Please go to the URL at www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome. I'll repeat one more time. That's www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome to get your premium free 30-day trial, one game out. You know what's awesome about Gamefly?
Tell me.
Games are shipped directly to you, including a pre-addressed envelope for easy returns. There are no contracts, and you can cancel anytime. You can have multiple games, movies rented out at the same time based on the membership. Speaking of memberships, you can get a 1-disc plan for $15.95 a month or a 2-disc plan for $22.95 a month, whatever suits your gaming or movie watching needs. Rent games online or through the mobile app, whether you're at home or on the go. Rentals ship to arrive on actual game release dates. There's no more standing outside for midnight releases, especially when it's really cold out and it's snowing and you get a cold and you're really upset because you're playing a game, but you're also sick at the same time. Remember, there was no due dates. That was really long. Instead of buying 2 or 3 games a year, you can get an entire year's worth of Gamefly service and rent as many games as you want. Remember, again, there are absolutely no friggin' late fees to Gamefly.com, just subscription-based. If you like the game you rented, you can keep the game at a heavily discounted rate, and Gamefly will send you the original case and manual at no extra charge whatsoever. Members, you receive huge discounts on used game sales. Never get burned by buying a bad game or get stuck with a game that only takes a few days to beat. Getting to my favorite part, Gamefly has over 8,000 games and movies. I mentioned that before, but guess what? They also have classics. You want to know how back they go?
Tell me.
They go back as far as PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. So if you like playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 on OG Xbox when you can listen to Less Than Jake and Agent Orange on the soundtrack, you can rent it at Gamefly.com.
Nice. What about mobile gaming?
Oh my gosh, mobile gaming. So they also do DS, 3DS, PSP, and PS Vita, right?
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody with a PS Vita, but still, that's pretty awesome.
I have one, and I haven't turned it on in 2 years. And the last time I turned it on was for Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Nice.
Which I found.
Which you can get through Gamefly.
Yeah, which you can get through Gamefly. So guys, remember, you can get a free 30-day trial, one game out, by going to www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome. Thank you, Gamefly.
Cool. Thank you very much, Gamefly. And you know what? We know a lot of you are gamers out there, so this is actually really great. I tried out the service. It's awesome. You pretty much, they have everything. You just put it into your queue. They send it out to you. Beat the game, send it back. It's so simple. And you know what? They're quick. The games come in great condition, and I recommend it.
You know what's my favorite thing about the word queue?
That it has 5 letters and only one is pronounced.
Yeah, it's essentially the only word I can really think of that, like, well, no, I'm sure there's other words, but as of right now, it's where the letter sounds like the word.
Yeah.
You know? Like, what other word is there that's like that?
I don't know.
Like
B?
Yeah, but that's two letters.
True.
Q is 5 letters, and it's pronounced Q.
Yeah, just one. That is yeah.
It's perplexing. I don't like it. Should just be Q. Just put Q.
The letter Q. That's it.
Yeah. Or no, because if you spell it CUE, then that's like a cue ball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's a completely different thing.
Now I understand why other countries hate English.
Oh, I get it completely. Yeah. Anyway, today we're gonna be, like I said, we're gonna be talking about a couple different topics. Let's get into the first one. Connor, which one do you want to do first?
I want to talk about fucking Halloween.
Great. And not the holiday specifically, but the Halloween remake that's coming up that's going to be written by Danny McBride.
Yeah. It's written by Danny McBride.
That's right. Danny McBride of Eastbound and Down and Pineapple Express fame.
Yeah. And it's also he's co-writing it. So let me bring up real fast the director. His name is David Green. So David Green is directing and co-writing with Danny McBride. So there's been a lot of buzz about this Halloween reboot. Now, going back, the original Halloween is not just a holiday classic. It's a horror classic. It's one of the greatest horror movies ever made. It's also a huge staple in independent filmmaking. It's like one of the first like independent films to like get mainstream buzz like at that time.
Right.
So it did a lot. So it's a very important film. The remake, love it or hate it.
The Rob Zombie ones.
Yeah, the Rob Zombie ones. Well, you can hate Halloween 2. I don't blame you for that.
I hate that one.
Yeah, Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie one. Love or hate the remake. It definitely tried to do something new with a story that was told in the same like 8 movies before it.
Right.
So I appreciate it for that, even though it's not that good of a movie. And then going back to the original series, it just is a muddled mess after pretty much Halloween 2. And even though I like Halloween 4 and I like Halloween H2O a lot, after it, not as much as Halloween 1, but they kind of don't make sense, actually, if you really think about them. So there's a lot of mistakes within the franchise going on. In fact, it's kind of sad because Halloween, I think, is one of the best slasher movies. The only ones that are really better than it are Nightmare on Elm Street and Psycho, maybe. That's just off the top of my head. If I really sat down and made a list, it might be different. But
it's at least top 3.
It's at least top 3, and it's a shame. And even though Halloween 2 from 1980, it wasn't a bad movie by any means, but it really should have ended there. I mean, he gets fucking burned alive. Yeah. I don't understand how you and he's not like invincible. He's just kind of like a force of nature. Mm-hmm. So like that should have killed him, even though the 6 bullets in the first one didn't. Spoilers, but it's like almost a 40-year-old movie. Yeah. So there's just a lot of inconsistencies. But a lot of people shit on Halloween 3 because it has nothing to do with Michael Myers. But I actually have a really fond appreciation for that movie. I think a lot of people have been going back. Like if you like the writers for Bloody Disgusting, if you go on like horror forums, even on like Cinemassacre, the guys that run that website, a lot of them have gone back and said, listen, Halloween 3 is nowhere near as bad as people said it was. It's just people gave it flack for not having Michael Myers in it. Which really what Halloween was supposed to be was an anthology film series. It was supposed to be every 1 or 2 movies was going to be a different story. So like some movies might have a sequel, but like overall the series was just going to be like almost a different story every time. Maybe some relation, but barely any. But everyone was so pissed about Michael Myers not being in it that they brought back Michael Myers after he was burnt to a living, just ash pretty much. Again, doesn't make sense. But at least Halloween 4 was decent. So there's just like, again, not to dive into all the mistakes of the original series. My point is, it's just a shame for a movie to be so freaking good to actually, honestly, in my opinion, be one of the worst horror series ever. Because
it did end up that way.
It really did end up that way. Like, if you ever seen Halloween Resurrection, it's laughably bad. Busta Rhymes essentially beats the shit out of Michael Myers.
But that was funny.
It was funny, but like
it was horrible. But that's one of those instances, in my opinion, the Busta Rhymes fighting Michael Myers, of a great scene in a shit movie. And it's only great because of how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, any real, yes, for the general public, it's hilarious. And normally, I would think that's fucking awesome. Like, because I'm, me, I love terrible shit. I love, like, I'm a big Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan. So, like, seeing Busta Rhymes karate kick, like, a killer in the face sounds like the most hilarious thing. The problem is it's Michael Myers. Like, you make a whole film series based around this guy and how intimidating he is and how threatening he is, and then, like, you end it with Busta Rhymes beating the shit out of him. Like, it just, again, it's funny. I understand. And I'm not going to act like I didn't laugh at it, because I did. It's just, in context, it's really annoying, you know, that's how it ended, especially because H2O was stronger than it really should have been. You know, it was way better than it ever needed to be.
Right.
Which is great, you know. I mean, it's not a perfect movie by any means, but it should have. That's really what the series should have ended if it didn't end at Halloween 2. But going back to what David Green and Danny McBride are trying to do with the series is they want to make Michael Myers scary again. And, like, of course, like, that's what you're going to say. But I actually, whether the movie turns out good or not, I know I can at least know their intentions are honest. And it's
they're not just trying to get a quick check.
Yeah, there's at least some there. It sounds like there's a lot of passion behind the project, especially because with something that was just released today, or not today, recently, I think like a few days ago, but I read it today, was that Michael Myers is not going to have a sister in this reboot. And, like, that's how it originally was in Halloween 1. You didn't know Laurie Strode was Michael Myers' sister.
Right.
They tied that in with the second movie. So they really, I think they're just focusing on Michael himself and kind of how much of an enigma he is amongst killers, which was fascinating about him. So, like, again, whether they get it right or wrong, like, I can at least know from the start that they have good intentions. So I'm going to give them my money.
Yeah, they have passion behind it.
Yeah, which I'm really excited about. But I was kind of curious, and I know I just totally, like, you know, ranted there, but I love Michael Myers. I love that series, despite having so many bad films. I was kind of curious about, like, your thoughts behind it.
When I first heard that Danny McBride was going to be writing or co-writing it, I was a little surprised because he is known for comedies, and he writes comedies very well. I think he is extremely funny. I haven't seen Vice Principals yet, but pretty much most of the things that he's in, especially Eastbound and Down, love it. And Eastbound and Down, I think, is one of HBO's best series over the last decade or 10 years or whatever. And he is a really good writer, and it was interesting. And I like that because he's going to bring a fresh voice to the horror genre, which is good, in my opinion.
Right. And, you know, we had a comedian be very successful in horror this year.
That's true. Look at what Jordan Peele did with Get Out. And I want it to be the opposite of the second Halloween that Rob Zombie did is, like, excellence because of how bad that movie was. But I feel like there's a very, like, maybe a 1% chance that it could be as bad or worse than that. So I have faith that this will definitely be better than that. But I want them to realize the mistakes that Rob Zombie made, even though he was passionate about it. Like, passion doesn't always translate well it doesn't always translate into greatness, regardless of how much you want it to be, coming from a guy like Rob Zombie. But I want, because in his movies, which in the original series too, Michael Myers is an absolute, like, force of nature.
Yeah, and he's also kind of like a ninja too, because you don't hear him coming ever.
Right. He's very, very interesting, and they kind of try to give him. Rob really in the first and the second one, when they kind of connected back, wanted to give Michael Myers a really, like, sympathetic approach to, like, that the audience could feel sympathy for him. They wanted to humanize him a little bit, but he kind of abandoned that, or kind of just was like, I kind of did that, but then I forgot about it and didn't do it.
Two things about that was, like, while I definitely think exploring the origins of Michael Myers and why he is the way he is is a great idea. I would love to, you know, it's kind of like, why haven't they done that with Yoda yet? You know, not that Michael Myers is in the same level of Yoda, but I'm just saying, like, exploring a character's backgrounds, I'm totally for. But it just was like, oh, he's from a dysfunctional family. His mom's a whore, and it's like, well, okay, a lot of people go through that.
Yeah, my mom's a horse, so I'm gonna go kill some cats.
Yeah, or like, oh, I have bullies at school. Really, like, I was picked on too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not fucking killing people. Well, at least
Yeah,
not that you
the
know.
intention
but,
was
like,
there, but the execution was poor.
Yeah,
and then it was abandoned.
exactly, and
Which you can't do that.
I love Rob Zombie's music. Like, I wouldn't even call it a guilty pleasure. Hellbilly Deluxe is fucking awesome. But his movies are very hit or miss because he's always had a problem with his characters in every single movie.
Yes.
Even The Devil's Rejects, which is like his masterpiece of a movie, and it's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's definitely his best one.
But yeah, it's his masterpiece so far, and even like as cool as much as I like the villains, the three killers were very interesting. Those were probably his best written characters. All the characters surrounding them were really annoying.
yeah,
The cop fucking sucked.
yes.
What you call it? All the people living in the house got no attention. The people they killed that were just I was hoping they would die. Like they were
Right.
just like they just didn't shut the
and
fuck
then
up.
Lords of Salem was just everything about that movie sucked. I don't know how people like that one.
So that's a movie where I'm like
because they made
It's not a good movie.
The main characters were horrible.
Yeah.
Especially the character his wife played.
at least with Devil's Rejects, the main three characters that needed to be good were awesome.
Yeah.
Like I can honestly say that all three of them I loved following. So, you know, I think Ken Foree is his name. He was in Kenan and Kel.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Devil's Rejects, and like he was annoying. You know,
Yeah.
every other character was kind of annoying. So again, those three characters being awesome really saved the movie.
And I think that's where a strength of Danny McBride is he can write, like, Kenny Powers is a horrible person. Like, your goal is to hate him. Like, you should hate him for everything he stands for and the way he acts. But he's written so strongly, and, like, the performance there is great, but the way he's written just makes you, like, love the guy. Just like how Walter White in Breaking Bad, he's a horrible human being.
You shouldn't like him by any
and you shouldn't
means.
like him, but you're rooting for him. And I think that's something Danny McBride can bring to the writing of the movie, which would definitely benefit it. Yeah, you got to make Michael Myers great because he is, he's the attraction to it. But you also have to make the supporting cast, whoever you're gonna put a main focus of the movie on, just as good, if not better.
Yeah, going back to Rob Zombie's Halloween, which again, like, it's not a very good movie, but I can like I said, like obviously with David Green and Danny McBride, is that there's obviously a lot of passion behind this movie, so I will give them my money. I don't regret giving Halloween my money because I can tell that he really cared about it and he really tried, and it did show that he tried, and like absolutely, I just didn't agree with a lot of the choices, but you're absolutely right. With supporting cast has to be strong. In fact, supporting cast needs to be just as strong as your main character, if not more important, because that was one of the many faults of the Halloween remake is that, Sherry Moon Zombie, while she can act very well in certain aspects, she was great in Devil's Rejects. I didn't really care for her at all. She sucked. Like she had a little bit of sympathy for her children or a little bit of care, but she didn't care obviously didn't care enough to have them not be with some douchebag dad or have her daughter loudly fuck above the room or while like a little kid Michael is like in the living room, and it's just like you obviously don't care that much. You kind of suck, in my opinion. Like, I don't like you, so I don't really feel sympathetic for you, even when you're honestly, like, a lot of people in your family that died kind of deserve to die.
Yeah. Oh, that family's horrible.
Not that fucking makes you deserve to die. Well, it does in horror movies, but it just was like annoying. I don't know. It's just like I feel sympathy for this lady that her. I don't know. It just the characters were not there. And I think you're absolutely right with Danny McBride. He obviously has shown that he can not only make a main character lovable, but the supporting characters lovable. So he definitely deserves to take a shot at this.
Yeah, and the grounded approach is a really good idea because Michael Myers is a human. He's not Jason. He's not like something that was reborn. He's not
Jason can be taken not seriously.
Yeah.
And like that's why Friday the 13th is awesome. because it is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's not an actual human anymore. He's a monster.
Yeah, Halloween can't be ridiculous.
Yeah, because Michael Myers is a human, so he can be an unstoppable force, like a very strong person, withstand this, that, and the other thing, but he can't withstand being set on fire, especially in in a movie that you're trying to be grounded in. So I want him to be an imposing figure, but for it to not just like throw the logic of what it's trying to forget the logic it wants to establish and just throw it to the wayside, while still having good scares and a good score to it, because the Halloween score is legendary.
Yeah, it was funny too, and like I don't want to shit on the Rob Zombie one, but a problem with that movie was the Halloween music. The cues were so freaking weird. Like they would play the music only like when Michael was a young kid, like walking down the hallway of school. But then like when he was killing somebody or like sneaking up, there was either no music or just a loud
Right.
It just, again, really weird musical cues.
It caused the moments to fall flat.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say though, again, like just so I'm not like completely shitting on that movie, it had a really good climax.
Yes.
I think the ending to Halloween one is what saved the movie for me. The Rob Zombie one.
Yes. All right. So that's I think we covered that.
Yeah.
There's no I don't think there's any planned release date or anything. I think they're just like starting to write it because Danny McBride has been busy filming Alien Covenant and now promoting it.
Yeah. It's pre-production.
Yeah, it's pre-production.
I wouldn't be surprised if it came out in 2019.
Could be. We'll see about that. Moving on to the next thing. I'm going to talk about depending on how much you guys read on the internet or what you're looking for, but Cannes announced that I believe it's either next year or 2019. Cannes Film Festival, it's one of the most highly regarded film festivals in the world, that they are no longer going to be accepting streaming service released movies. They're not going to take them into consideration to screen at the festival and to get nominated for any awards, because they want it to have a certain length of theatrical run, specifically in France. Worldwide, they don't really care, but in France, in order to be in consideration for it, no matter how good the movie is. So this causes problems for Netflix, for Amazon Prime, and then for any of the other streaming services that are planning to do, or any studios that are planning just to release a streaming service.
Yeah, because what does that do for a streaming service that is small but trying to grow, like Shudder,
or any movies that really wouldn't do well in box office numbers, but will do well on like VOD, video on demand, or iTunes or whatever. So it's really annoying, and it's because France has but it's a problem because in France they have this rule or law or whatever that once a movie appears in theaters, it takes something like 2.5 to almost 3 years for it to be allowed on streaming services in some capacity, or something with the rights like that. There's a problem. So like a person in France, if it has a limited theatrical release in like 2 theaters, somebody else is not going to be able to see it legally online in streaming service, which is, it is the biggest. It's only growing and growing, the streaming audiences. They're not going to be able to see it legally online unless they want to buy the DVD for 2.5 to 3 years, however long it is. And a lot of big name directors and actors are going for Netflix movies. Will Smith's newest movie that's coming out that he did with David Ayer, Bright, is being distributed by Netflix. It was made and produced and distributed by Netflix. So Will Smith actually came out and talked against Cannes' plan for that. It's kind of just Netflix is innovating, Amazon Prime is innovating, these studios are innovating, and they're getting shut out just because of the platforms they use to release these movies.
Yeah, it sounds kind of shitty, and it's like it clearly, like, I don't know what this originally comes from, like why this is, but like let's say this is worst case scenario. Let's say this is done out of fear of losing of streaming taking over movie theaters. Yeah,
it's the French distributors that are like protesting it, that swayed the head of the festival into thinking this, and it's
swayed. Swayed.
Yeah,
I'm making symbols. You can't see because there's no camera of me handing money to an invisible person. No, I don't know how that's how it went down, but
No, it's just like it's a money grab
yeah,
in a way, or there's financial reasons behind it, but it honestly it's gonna hurt Cannes more than it will these streaming based movies.
right.
Because no matter what, if it's on Netflix or whatever streaming service it's going to be on, if it's available in that country, then people are going to watch it on the streaming service. A lot of people go to Cannes or Sundance or whatever, Tribeca, because there's certain movies there, regardless of who's distributing it, that they want to see. So they will lose an audience, and especially if big name actors go for these movies that people are really anticipating that aren't going to premiere at festivals such as Cannes, the actors are just not going to show up. And you get somebody like Will Smith, love or hate his recent string of movies, he's still one of the biggest movie stars in the world.
Yeah.
He's a huge draw.
He has a say.
He has, he can swing it around, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so he's speaking out against it, and I think more actors and directors who do choose to go through this are going to agree with him and just be like, all right, well then Cannes is missing out. And there's other film festivals. I'll go to Sundance. I'll go to Tribeca. I'll go wherever.
Yeah.
And do it there. And then you know what? It's already going to be I already have a distributor for it. Fuck it. I'll do it. The French distributors are going to be losing money.
But also too, like, do we know the market in France very well? Like, I don't know. 'Cause I was thinking like maybe they did it at a fear. It's like, well, like movie theaters are dying because of streaming services, and I was going to say, well, that's clearly not the case, because here in the United States, movie theaters are packed every weekend. There's a new movie coming out in theaters all the time. It was like, remember when we were kids? There was like maybe like one awesome movie coming out a month. There's like during like 6 months out of the year, there's like one awesome movie coming out every week or two.
Yeah.
And which is like more than double, exponentially greater than when we did when we were as kids. Like, I feel like we had to wait forever for a good movie.
Whether or not they're good movies, big name movies are coming out very close to one another too.
But now let's look at France. Like, do we really know the market in France? Like, how well do, like, I know Marvel movies do and the Transformers movies and stuff like that do really good overseas. Mm-hmm. But like, is France one of those countries?
I mean, it depends if you want to look at France as they are or in a stereotypical fashion.
Yeah,
it's like
I'm trying not to.
Yeah, and if you've seen pretty much any movie that depicts France in a certain light, most of the time they stick them as snub-nosed, and they only watch these art house films, and like that's all they go see in the cinemas. And I doubt that's true. There have been like some big name movies premiered in France, so there is a huge draw there. It's just, I think, the French distributors who are pushing for this, they can still work with Netflix or Amazon or whatever to distribute the film over there, because those producers still need to work out the rights. And usually when you work out the rights to air something or produce it, money changes hands, so people make money off it.
Yeah.
And it's just going to exclude a whole bunch of movies, like a movie like Beast of No Nation. Netflix was distributor for it. They had it in theaters for a little bit, but I'm sure of the people who watched it, 99% of them watched it on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's where it got its draw, and it was award nominated throughout these different award shows. And then Woody Allen has a like a 4-something or picture deal with Amazon Studios. Amazon Studios just produced Manchester by the Sea,
which was excellent.
Which was won 2 Academy Awards, and if it was a very well received movie on many levels, and if it had just been Amazon streaming, it still would have been nominated for a whole mess of awards. But if Cannes has this way, that's going to miss out on that opportunity to premiere these movies. And it's really going to draw a lot less interest, I think, in my opinion. They may disagree, but it's kind of like the guy in charge. I don't know how to say his name, but he said that
we're just ignorant Americans.
Yeah. Because he just goes, I don't conceive the prizes, like such as the biggest prize, which is the Palme d'Or or whatever, going to a film that's not being able to see it on a big screen. You got a big screen TV in your house, you're seeing it on the big screen when you stream it. But he says, this doesn't mean I'm not open to or don't celebrate the new technologies. He claims he does, but
do you?
But you're not, because you're excluding them.
Yeah.
And you have to understand.
It's like saying you support something, but then saying I'm not going to support it.
Right, and it's like when cable companies are complaining about losing their subscribers, it's because streaming is the current, it's the current trend. It's still going to be the future, and instead of adapting it, they're like just pushing it to the wayside and then delivering. This does not apply strictly to theaters, but in terms of like content or how they treat the customers, cable is losing so many subscribers because they treat them like shit and they offer shit, and it's not worth it for people.
Right. It's cool, like, you can have like thousands of channels, but yeah, but then I can just pay.
Yeah, but I just want to pay for like 5.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the same time, it's like, well, I can pay probably that exact amount a month, but get a million streaming services that gives me way more options and much better service. And I can watch it whenever I want.
Yeah. So I think that Kansas is putting themselves at a real disadvantage, and I think it's a dumb decision personally.
It just is. It's kind of like it shows for anytime there's a new technology or a new way of thinking or adapting to something that's a part of a social that you adapt to socially or an entertainment fashion. So movies with streaming services,
right.
Just as the most recent example, when something is clearly like coming and like it's not going to stop, and it's just this gigantic thing that everyone's just going to be doing,
and it's drawing bigger and bigger names
and taking
to their content
and taking away from bigger and bigger companies, and you're going to be like, no, I don't see it this way. It just shows that you're not really with the times,
right.
And like, dude, you're an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like you have to like realize like this is not good. Like if you want your festival to survive, you have to adapt.
Yeah. You have to.
Like, if I would be like, hey, listen, by the way, like, I know, like, Cannes Film Festival's in France, and if you come to Cannes Film Festival in France, like, you're going to get all this cool shit. We're going to do all this stuff for you, blah, blah, blah. But, hey, you know what? For those of you that can't make it, here's like a 5-day streaming of the movies that have won all the awards for you guys, and it's subscription or for a one-time fee, almost like a pay-per-view. How much money you'd be fucking making? And I would totally buy that.
In that interview where Will Smith was like, said the Cannes decision is a dumb one, he makes a really good point. He goes, through these streaming services, people get to see films that they absolutely wouldn't have seen otherwise, because there are movies that are not on a screen within. 8,000 miles is a big difference, but big distance. But like, it's true. There are some movies that won't screen in your state or in your country. They just don't because of distribution rights. And then you got something like a streaming service where the movie could only be in theaters. Like, for say from here, the movie could only be premiering at Cannes Film Festival. That's the only theater it's going to be premiering at. But Netflix is going to have it, so I can see it.
Yeah, what's wrong with people seeing a movie that someone worked so hard on?
Right.
Like, you know what? Like, kind of reminds me of is, remember when we went to go see Godzilla Resurgence? How much of a pain in the dick it was to find.
There was only one theater in New Jersey playing it.
Yeah, and it took like an hour to get there.
Yeah,
and my car was making like a weird noise on the way there, and I was like, "Fuck! Like, are we gonna make it?" Like, I started getting really nervous, and then like we just made it as soon as the movie started.
Right,
and we were like, as soon as the credits opened was when we sat our asses down in the seat, and like that is in New Jersey where we live in that state,
and it's not a big state
now
comparatively to other.
You're gonna be a dick about streaming services when you have a film festival in France, which is, by the way, not the #1 highest grossing country when it comes to films.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be a dick about it? Like, if people, like, not being, like, dude, people want to see movies. Like,
yeah.
And, like, if I was a filmmaker, I'd be like, dude, fuck you. Like, there's like, my movie, I believe in my movie that it's a great movie, and I want people to see it. I'd rather just have it put on Netflix and screw your awards and stick them up your ass.
Yeah, if the streaming option is what works best for that movie from those producers or those directors, then obviously they're going to do it. Like, why would they not? Because Netflix has, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, whatever, subscribers around the world.
Yeah.
And all of Netflix's original content, whether it's U.S. made or European made or some made in Japan or wherever, if it's a Netflix original thing, it's everywhere in the world at once. Except I think in Russia there's something that it applies differently there. But 99% of where Netflix is offered, like House of Cards, everywhere.
Yeah.
Orange is the New Black, everywhere. It's
I'd rather
everywhere
take
in the
that
world.
over an award. And the days are over where, independent filmmakers and even like big time filmmakers like have to make a name with these festivals.
Yeah.
They don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not necessary anymore.
yeah, essentially you have a film festival based on like either like nostalgia or out of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like out of routine, I don't know. There's a word I'm looking.
Well,
thinking. Like
to an extent, there are still a lot of movies that do sell at film festivals and get distributors, but
there's no need for it anymore.
But at the same time, if it doesn't sell at the, to like Paramount or Universal, to like a major studio, or to like Miramax or the Weinsteins, they have the option of like, all right, well, I own these rights. I could submit it to iTunes or Netflix or Amazon. I can go to them, and they'll do it because it builds their libraries. And if they want it, they're like, they want it because they know people will watch it on their service.
And now there's like critics look for Netflix series and movies like on there just to review. Look, we do Netflix reviews on Marvel shows with Nick Snyder, or just Netflix shows in general with him, and it's just because people look for content on Netflix, and that's what people do. Like my brother says, he's like honestly, I just turn to Netflix now and just look for shows on there. So you don't even like not that, and like Netflix like when something's new on there, and it automatically looks for you like with the stuff that you watch, and then it pairs you with new stuff that you may be interested in. So already there, that's a much better way of distributing your movie just by putting it on a streaming platform than trying to get it sold by a major studio, trying to get it bought by a major studio. Like the days are over, like where Kevin Smith had to fight for Clerks. Like that doesn't exist anymore. He even admits that. He's like, there's no, like, the days are over where you're buying a bunch of equipment and using film and everything like that. He's like, you can make a film on an iPhone and then put it on the internet.
Yeah.
And it could be popular.
Exactly.
That's
like
just how it is.
He could even just put it on YouTube. He doesn't even need, Netflix or anything. He just puts it on YouTube for free and then takes an ad.
Like, you give us $1,000 and a YouTube channel, and then we'll make a movie. Maybe 3 people will see it, but you know what? That's 3 more people than probably would have seen it than if I tried to take it to a film festival.
Yeah.
That's common sense.
Yeah, and film festivals are still very cool. They still do help a lot of movies. They're seem like great experiences for people and for all those involved. Plus, usually there they do like South by Southwest. They do early screenings of the movies. Like Edgar Wright's film Baby Driver premiered there like a few months ago. Part of The Disaster Artist, James Franco's highly anticipated
Can't wait for that movie.
Premiered there. Like a lot of movies have been premiering there, and then they do events with the people involved in it. They do these long interviews and presentations and all this stuff. So there is a lot going on there. But still, streaming services have presence there, and audience can find out if it's going to be in theaters or it's going to be on Netflix. Listen, if it's not readily available legally, people will pirate it.
Yeah.
It's a guarantee. Like, you can't prevent it. So why not accept something that is readily available for somebody instead of harming the production of it or the grossing of it or the viewing of it legally, like through distribution, by just having somebody pirate it?
Yeah. Why not make money where money is made? Like, why like I could see if it was like, oh, it's a month, like, hey, like it's got to be at least a month before it goes on streaming services after film festival.
That's fine.
I'd be like, oh, cool, like, all right, that's fine, like that makes sense because you want to go because you want people to go to the film festival at Cannes. But like, dude, 3 or 4 years you said,
something like
fuck
that. Because each country has different rights and distribution contracts and laws and all this stuff, so it can be very detrimental to a lot of films. But Netflix is growing every day in huge amount. Amazon Prime service is growing in a huge amount. Hulu, like so many big name networks and studios now are doing their own streaming services too, because they know that's where the audience is going. So it really just puts puts some egg on their face for cans, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it's stupid.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's not a step in the right direction, you know. And of course, like, you know, I don't want. Now I know it sounds like I'm shitting on whatever they're doing, like on what they're doing, but it's just, you can always turn around. You can always be like, hey, like we're getting this, and like no one would bat an eye that you used to do it, because at least you're acknowledging a mistake.
Yeah. So it's stupid. Not about covers that unless you have something else to say about it.
Yeah, I don't. I'm done ranting about it.
One other thing that I brought up, and if you saw, I think it was yesterday that I posted on Twitter, but I made a couple tweets that were cursing at ABC networks.
This was funny.
And this is all right. So for the upcoming fall premieres, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just finished its 4th season, closed out with a bang. This was definitely their best season. But with that, Once Upon a Time and Inhumans, ABC has decided to schedule them on Friday nights, which everybody knows is the death night for TV.
For network television.
For network television.
Yeah.
Because usually Friday nights are where, you know, people go out and do whatever.
Yeah, it's the night where it's like, dude, all I did during the week was stay home and watch TV. And you know, I stayed home, watched TV, you know, during the week. It's like Friday night, the boys are going to Ale House. We're going to see Sean Patrick Band. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to miss.
Yeah.
Pat's going to have to miss his favorite show, Big Bang Theory.
That's your favorite show. But so it's a death slot. And no show that is ever, unless it's sports, no program that is on Friday nights gets a lot of ratings. So putting shows on there just shows that you're giving up on them and you just don't care if they're successful or not. So that's what they're doing with Once Upon a Time. And then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're moving to it. And Inhumans is going to premiere on Friday nights, too, which just shows that they don't have faith in the show. But it's too late now because it's either almost done shooting or whatever, or still shooting or something. So it shows they don't have faith in the show, which is I get because it's Scott Buck. And you saw what happened to Iron Fist. But Once Upon a Time, I think they're putting there because a lot of the main actors, including Jennifer Morrison, who has like been the lead, I think it's 6 seasons deep now or whatever, or 5 seasons deep, is leaving the show. She's going to be in a couple episodes. They're like, all right, we'll just put it there. We'll cancel it, whatever. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., while live viewing, it doesn't have the greatest numbers in the world. It's DVR streaming and +3 and +7 viewings, like that means 3 days, 7 days, is like some of the highest on network TV. And there's a huge devoted fan base because it's Marvel property.
Yeah, well, that just shows the people who watch the show are the people who watch the Netflix shows.
And one of the things that it's stupid that they're holding against the show is Tuesday nights. You know, you got like The Voice is on, or like or Survivor, or the stupid like variety or live or reality shows are on, like the big ones, and you're putting it against that and holding their numbers against something like that. Like America's Got Talent is one of the most popular shows in the country, and that's because of its appeal. So you can't hold 14, say America's Got Talent gets in 14 million viewers every week. You can't hold that against a show like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
if you're putting it on in the same time slot, which is what happened with NBC and why they lost their Tuesday night comedies, is because they were holding that against American Idol, against The Voice, Got Talent, all those shows, and they're like, oh, well, our shows aren't pulling in those ratings, so they ended up canceling Community. They shortened 30 Rock. They did it to Parks and Rec.
Yeah. This is the dumbest logic to have, because it's like shows like American Idol or America's Got Talent is like, well, like I'm not like the biggest fan of those shows for certain reasons. Like, dude, like you know, people like us are gonna watch Agents of Shield.
Yeah.
Like, but then at the same time, like look, like anybody is gonna like anybody and anybody can watch American Idol.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it doesn't matter who you are.
America's Got Talent, it's a variety show where it's not just singing; it's all these different things. Like
Yeah.
there's magic. So it's gonna have a much larger audience base because there really is something in there every single episode that people want to see.
And not that it's, and I'm not saying it's better. In fact, I don't think it's better at all. But it's just more appealing because who doesn't like watching someone sing?
It appeals to more demographics.
Or who doesn't like watching someone doing something sick? Like, dude, like when Susan Boyle was on like Britain's Got Talent, and that exploded, like that was fucking awesome. Like,
Yeah.
and that happens a lot on that show.
Right.
So like you can't compare it because it's two different audiences. But obviously, the variety show or the reality shows are going to have a much broader appeal because of who they're representing.
Right.
Who doesn't like watch people sing? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's just
and,
like
and the thing, like the most desired demographic in network television and really in like cable too is the 18 to 49-year-old demographic, especially males. But that age range is the biggest, and Agents of Shield actually has a really good viewership numbers or ratio in that demographic compared to other shows. And so ABC, but the excuse that this one ABC exec came up with was just laughably bullshit. He said, "Oh, well, we wanted, fans of both shows have been wanting to have Once Upon a Time and Agents of Shield on at the same night, so we're giving people what they want." Which is like the dumbest shit I've ever. Like, okay, so then why not keep it on Tuesday? Or Once Upon a Time, I think for the past few years was on Sunday nights. Why not do that? Or Monday nights? Why put it in a death slot? Agents of Shield didn't get renewed until like 2 days ago, and it just had its season finale of 22 episodes. Like, so
he's saying that he wants two shows together on the same night because people have been asking him.
Apparently,
But that's like, I don't know. That's
but
like
I've never seen anywhere, and I tried looking up, never seen that or had that.
No, that's like, I'm
heard that
sorry. It's like a husband asking a wife for like a hand job and a BJ the same night, but then she decides to do it on nights where he's going out with his friends. Like, it's just like the dumbest fucking excuse
Yeah,
I ever
that's
heard in
what
my
he
life.
has.
Yeah.
So it's stupid, and like I think ABC wants to cancel Shield. And so what I think the reason that they're putting it on Friday nights is going to be like, oh, well, Shield's numbers are so much, down so much compared to last season, it's not worth keeping on. That, and they want to either reduce the episode order or reduce the budget. And it's going to affect, and Shield takes some big risks, and cutting their budget takes away some of the risks that have worked out so well. Like, they had Ghost Rider on this season. Granted, he wasn't in every single episode or wasn't, full Flaming Skull in every single episode. But when it served best, they put their budget to that. The Flash does it when they have somebody like Gorilla Grodd or King Shark on. Like, they know when to use it. So you're taking away their budget. They're going to be like, all right, well, we can't bring in these characters. We can't do this. But putting it on Friday nights is a ratings bust. Like, is ratings suicide. It's not going to work. NBC did that when they had Constantine on air. It started on Tuesdays at like 8 or 9, then they pushed it to Wednesdays at 10, and then they pushed it to Fridays at 8 when like everybody's already out.
Yeah. Who's home
And
Friday
then they're like,
at 8,
oh, you know what, this isn't
o'clock?
good, so this didn't get ratings.
Yeah.
So we canceled it.
And like, like again, like we're criticizing, time slots when like, I've been watching Samurai Jack on Saturday nights, but like at the same time, it's not every Saturday night. Like, in fact, I've only ever caught it 2 Saturday nights out of the 9 episodes that appear. Every other time was a DVR or on demand.
Right.
So,
and yes, there are a lot of people that DVR an episode and save it for Saturday or Sunday afternoons or night or whatever. Yeah, but if it's on a popular primetime night, you get that plus those numbers plus all the people who are going to watch it and like on DVR or whatever, and it makes more sense to have it in a primetime slot where it's going to get the most viewers for that audience live. Not to mention that the whole I've said this before, but the rating system for TV is fucking so outdated. It's ridiculous, especially when networks
Just TV ratings. Well,
Well-
I understand your point, but
numbers.
yeah,
Especially when they try to bring in Nielsen ratings that like a minimal amount of viewers actually have in their house. So you have to have a specific box for it, and then they like estimate, which, sample size and population control and statistics, yeah, but the Nielsen ratings are so fucking outdated. And it's diminishing the quality of shows. And think about how many shows have been canceled because of ratings that end on like cliffhangers or don't get to resolve a storyline or whatever.
yeah.
And then, not to mention that, but there have been a couple shows like recently that premiered 2 episodes and then were just cut and like canceled right away from 2 episodes because they didn't have numbers in those 2 episodes.
From the Nielsen ratings, or
Because of ratings, yeah.
I feel like the Nielsen ratings are just like fucking e-readers. Like they're just as useless as those. Like, you know what an e-reader is?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's the dumbest goddamn thing ever. Like, ugh.
Yeah, it's so fuck you ABC for doing that. I mean, if I'm home on a Friday night, I'm going to watch it, obviously. But now I'm just going to have to DVR it and not watch it live. And you want people to watch it live because if they DVR it, guess what they're skipping through? The commercials, which make you money,
Yeah.
which is what you're selling for. Your advertisers are going to pay less for a show that's on a Friday night than they would if it's on a Tuesday night or Monday night or Sunday night, which is a huge TV night.
Although I'm like really suspecting soon that like one of these days, and like this is just like this is just like stuff that like wakes me up at night. That like how like on demand you can't fast forward through the fucking commercials.
Yeah.
Like when we watch Eric Andre at like 3 a.m, you just
Yeah, you can fast forward through the show, but you can't fast forward through the commercial.
Yeah, right. It's like, dude, like I'm like I know there's gonna be a day where like I DVR something I really like, and like I got a fucking nice cold one in my left hand and a hot dog in my right hand, and I'm just I'm happy Connor, and like I'm like I fast forward on the remote, and I'm still watching the fucking Flonase commercial.
Yeah.
And
then
that's not
it's gonna
funny.
cut to
It's never
and then
been
it's
funny.
gonna cut to a second commercial, and then right after that commercial, they're gonna go back to that Flonase commercial again within 30 seconds.
Or like
Stupid.
If I ever see that goddamn Mucinex fucking ad again, like Mucinex, I'm gonna live in here. Like, no, I don't want to watch
actually,
you.
That's the worst part of watching something on demand because it's when they go to commercial break, it's the same 3, 4, 5 commercials each commercial break.
Yeah.
There's no variety to
And,
it.
like,
Like
it's-
mix it up a little bit.
And what sucks is like I probably wouldn't be complaining as much if commercials were awesome like they used to be. Like, dude, remember when commercials were really cool? When like you would watch like like it was like I remember like when we were kids and like commercials would like have like not even just like commercials for kids, but just commercials in general almost had like little mini storylines that would like fold out and every
now
so
they're
often.
just-
Like even the McDonald's commercials, like every Christmas there was like something new, like the kid melting like when he was a snowman, or even like dude like the Coca-Cola commercials with the polar bears. There was always something like interesting every Christmas, and like dude, commercials just fucking blow now. It's just the same goddamn thing. They're playing commercials from when we were kids now, like the M&M's Christmas commercial. How it's like they do exist. It's almost like a little story within a commercial.
Well,
but new commercials don't try anymore.
I won't hold that against Hershey's or whoever produces M&M's.
Mars.
Mars.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know Hershey's does this at least. Around Christmas time when they have the Hershey Kisses and they ring them, they do the bells, the Christmas songs. Instead of spending the money that they would on a new commercial every year, they give it as bonuses to all their employees.
I won't bitch about that anymore then.
Yeah.
All right.
But no, you're right on several accounts in that, and I really, really don't want ABC to cancel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I get it. Every show eventually is going to come to an end.
We should do an episode on like awesome commercials.
We could. That's not a bad idea. But I know every show has to come to an end eventually.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Some shows still need time to run their course. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., especially this fucking season, they found a big complaint against like the CW shows, let's say, like The Flash, is they stretch out one arc across 22, 23 episodes. And now S.H.I.E.L.D. did that. The first season, no, because at first it was before it became serialized, it was like Monster of the Week type of thing.
Yeah.
And when it got serialized, it only had a few episodes before the end. But season 2 kind of broke it up in half, and then season 3, but still overall there was like one big arc, but they kind of split it like a little bit. But this season they did, which I think is a brilliant idea, which I think that the CW might have to adopt, is they broke, while one thing kind of flowed, one element flowed throughout the whole season, they broke it up into like 5, 6, 7 episode pods worth. So like the first 7 episodes or whatever were about Ghost Rider and then this villain that he had to face. Second one was about life model decoys, which was like another 5, 6 episodes. Then they did another thing, and then they just finished with another pod. But there were elements present throughout the entire season, but each one had a conclusive arc within 5 to 7 episodes.
Right.
Which worked out so well for them, and I think was a genius idea on their part. It is something that I think, the Flash may, or Arrow, or Supergirl should think about adopting. And it makes sense because
that actually is my biggest gripe with those shows, is like how drawn out it seems like.
And that's why they're actually like the Flash has lost a lot of viewers now, and a lot of people are criticizing.
I haven't got after the season break of I'm sorry not to interrupt you, but after season 3 took its mid-season break, I never got back to it.
Yeah, I mean I've still been watching it, but there's the CW shows take too many breaks as it is. But a lot of especially this season, like the identity of the big bad, it didn't get revealed who his identity was until the 20th episode of the season, or 21st episode of the season.
Yeah, and like
that's way too fucking long.
how long can you keep my attention? Like,
right.
For that. I'm sorry. Like, you already are battling, people that have way shorter attention spans than they ever have, in the history of mankind. I mean, like, how many times have you just talked to a person and they just like watch something or whatever, like, and like it's not it's just a sign of the times. It's not a bad thing, but like, dude, you're gonna stretch out like something like that for 20 episodes? Like, really? It better be fucking good,
Yeah. And getting back, the pods was, I think, a genius idea, but a lot of people lost interest in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the first half of the first season. I know you didn't even make it the whole first half. Which I think is a shame, and I highly recommend if you are one of those people to go back.
You tell me all the time.
Because the second half of the first season to now, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has only gotten exceptionally better. And I can say this with certainty, and like I 100% believe this, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the best comic book show there is. Better than the Netflix shows, better than all the CW shows. It is the strongest, most well-written, most consistent comic book show there is. And I fully agree that a lot of people agree with it. I know Anthony D'Elia, previous guest and frequent blogger, agrees with me on it. And it's true. And they have proven that time and time again. And they take massive risks, and they show off stuff that we won't see otherwise in like movies, and get some like B and C lister characters in it, but make it sick.
Yeah.
They made Ghost Rider, who had a really bad taste. People had a bad taste in their mouth from the Nicolas Cage movies.
No, but dude, one time, when we left Ghost Rider, the first one, Cass was like, "Dude, that's a 5-star movie."
You know what? I've heard him say that before.
He was like, "Dude, Nicolas Cage, Academy Award winning role right there."
And this season, they took, not only did they take the Ghost Rider name, but they took a character who played Ghost Rider, who only had a 12-issue run, and made him so awesome and so loved that there's rumors that he's going to get his own show. And it relaunched that character's comics series now.
Yeah.
And it's selling very well because they did a great job, and they've brought on some like crazy stuff that and given a lot of nods to characters and villains that you won't see in the movies, and has just done it so well that it's really a shame if ABC is trying to kill it.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to act like I watched the show, because I don't, but I understand there's a strong fan base, and like because of that strong fan base, I'm sure it is a really good show. I'd hate to see it go when it shouldn't have to.
Especially if they're like, if you want to cancel a show, put it on its, where it serves best, and give it a shot. Don't put it into a death slot and then come up with a bullshit reason like, oh, fans of both shows want them on the same night that just happens to be a night where you have the least amount of viewers watching primetime television. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I highly recommend going back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to you and to anybody who ever gave up on it.
I will one day.
And I promise you will not be disappointed.
Are you gonna start watching Samurai Jack?
I will. If you start Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again, I'll start Samurai Jack.
All right. You know, it's what's funny too is like I've watched every episode of Legion, but the last episode still.
Still, Jesus Christ,
I keep forgetting about it, but I actually do kind of want to rewatch a lot of it because not that I forget it, I just want it fresh in my memory from when we finally when we do all right, this is our favorite televisions this year so far, episodes.
It's been off air for quite a while, a couple
months.
Well, no,
now. I'm just saying in general, hey, our favorite TV shows from January to June, this is it, Legion is definitely gonna be up there. Cash, you want to come on and say something real fast? Yeah, come over. I feel like you're itching. Just say whatever the fuck is on your mind.
Say whatever you want, man.
Yeah. You can literally say, here, we got this mic on for you. You can literally say anything into that microphone. But just...
Unless it's...
Yeah.
Unless it's crazy. I'm not going to say anything. Hey, everybody. How are you? I don't know. What are we talking about, boys?
Well, before we talked about the Halloween remake.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm excited what we want from it. Excited for it. Then we talked about how Cannes is going to ban streaming-only movies from its festival. And then we just talked about shows trying to kill, networks and channels trying to kill shows and not taking into account
Community.
Yes, I brought that up before because NBC killed all those they're great, Tuesday night, Thursday night shows.
It's so sad that they had to go to Yahoo.
Yeah.
I mean, the last episode
just drank it.
The last episodes aren't terrible, but they suffered. I mean, you could tell from just the budget and the people that everyone left.
And then Yahoo complained that they lost $40 million, but that's because they didn't advertise the fucking show.
Yeah, no, there was it's Arrested Development all over again too.
Yeah. Which is coming out next year.
I did hear
New
about
season.
that. Yeah.
Next year. It's official.
Yeah.
Fucking great. Connor just gave us a shrug.
I think the first two seasons of Arrested Development are fine. I think that a lot of people are like, that fourth season was really bad. I was like, really? Because that third season wasn't very good either. I don't know.
All right. The fourth season is definitely not as great upon first viewing as the first three.
Yeah, I agree.
But if you go back and rewatch it again, it is better.
And
it's still the worst of the
Yeah.
I never even finished the fourth season, to be honest. I just didn't care. I didn't want to.
But maybe now with the fifth season, they can actually get all the cast available at once instead of having to break it up like they did with season 4.
Yeah, and I know that what's his face? Ron Howard's been teasing for how long that he's been recutting it.
Yeah.
I mean, so who knows? Maybe they'll do a both 2-for-1er, which I would love.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
it's a bummer, man, when shows end too early. It's.
But then
and that was Fox's fault.
Is it though? Because all right.
Well, it depends. I mean, if the show is garbage, you get it off the air.
All right.
You know
Because I'm just saying is let's look at some examples of where cutting a show too early may have helped the show.
All right, hit me.
All right, and we'll end off with this.
Yeah.
Because we've been on for a while. Let's look at Star Trek.
Okay.
That ended far, far too early than it ever should have.
It's true.
But because it ended far too early, there was a fan resurgence in the 70s that would say, why did the show get canceled?
Yeah.
We're so pissed off. And that voice got louder and louder and louder. And then okay, Star Trek motion picture. That movie sucked. But then Star Trek II Wrath of Khan came out, and bam, that series went much farther than it ever should have gone.
Yeah.
Next Generation, all that. So sometimes I think...
Sometimes it does.
Sometimes
look at Family Guy. I mean...
It's like
prime example.
Yeah, sometimes
and
cutting
Futurama came back twice.
Futurama came back twice.
Yeah, sometimes cutting a show too early can help.
Sometimes,
but not that studio should do that. But still,
yeah. I still have never watched Firefly.
Oh my god, that is the most circle jerk show on the internet.
I know it is, but I mean, there's got to be.
I don't want to watch it because all the it's not going to live up to the expectations that the internet has set up. And yes, that show did get screwed over by Fox.
No, of course.
But they got out of it a movie that nobody went to go see except for 10 people.
Yeah.
And people are still like, we need this back on air right now.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason why I won't watch Firefly or Serenity, not that I won't watch it, it's just that I'm reluctant to watch it.
Yeah.
Because, all right, so remember how everyone was like, dude, Half-Life 2 is the best video game I've ever played. It changed my life. It saved my family. And, like, now there's no problems in the rest of the world. And if ISIS just played Half-Life 2, there would be no reason for them killing anybody ever. Because that's essentially how fucking people talk about Half-Life 2. Dude, I played Half-Life 2, and it's all right.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's because you had all that build up.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's a fine game.
Yeah.
I can see why people think it's great.
I think Half-Life 2 is a good game.
It's a good game.
But
I agree.
But I'm sorry.
you're going to be disappointed if that's all you ever see. And that's like with anything. Like,
But if we're comparing like the best games ever made on just that tier, not by genre, like I'm sorry, like Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 is like far superior than that game. Like, okay, but the gravity gun, really? Because that's been done before in other video games before and after.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good game.
It's the hype.
Yeah.
It gets it too much, and then you do it, and you're like, well, this is a bummer.
And it's just like, dude, like, and like,
everyone has one, yeah.
People have come up to me and they're like, you call yourself a fan of sci-fi, but you've never watched Firefly. It's like, really? Because you've probably never seen all the shitty alien movies that I have.
Yeah.
But I will sit through them because I'm a fucking fan. Sorry, like I missed some goddamn show that was like probably okay that people overhyped and that Reddit just loves.
Yeah. They just everyone circle jerks around.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame
There are very few things that will live up to the hype of that. And it is a bummer. I actually just finished watching, for the first time ever, Veronica Mars. Finished the first 3 seasons. Just watched the movie. And that show was canceled too early. Because right after it got canceled, the creators came up with like this 12-minute short of like what the 4th season could have been. Would have been awesome. And people were obsessed with that. I can see why it got so much money on Kickstarter for it. Because it actually is a really good show.
Yeah.
And the movie was good, and that got canceled too early.
Definitely.
So there are exceptions to shows that, I mean, it kind of worked out for them because they got the movie off the ground.
I mean, look at Twin Peaks right now. I mean, that comes out next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another show, and that's been off air for a while.
A long time. A long time. I did that like at least 3-4 years ago. So I've been planning on rewatching all of it, but it's a hefty show, man. I mean, the first episode's 2 hours.
Y'all fucked up because you're not watching Samurai Jack. Like, all right.
Yeah, that too. I mean, I remember when that first was kind of on, and seeing it on Toonami and stuff, and it just looked so cool. But obviously before streaming days, catching those old shows were a lot more.
That was
difficult.
like, and like it's like my. Like, parents wonder why their kids won't play sports because shows like fucking Samurai Jack come on at 6:30 at night every night, and it's just like it's like my dad's like, you should sign up for basketball. I'm like, but Dad, Samurai Jack is gonna kill robots. Like, and that's right. It was before Netflix, so it was like if I missed it, I missed
you're
it.
screwed, and then you're not gonna.
See
and
it was just like, dude, you know how much like Dragon Ball Z VHSs I have because I missed episodes because it's like you got to go to tennis. Like I don't want to go to tennis. Like and it's like fuck. Like now I'm not gonna see Gotenks transform, but like my mom would buy the $24.99 VHS that had 3 or 4 episodes on it. So who really won?
Yeah, I need to catch up on that. I've heard nothing but good things about the new season
Of Samurai Jack?
Yeah.
It might be one of the best
that's what I've heard.
seasons of any television show I've ever seen ever.
Didn't the one character on it didn't he pass away and they have like another guy filling in for it, right? But they said it's even as good, or was it he dropped out? He didn't want to redo it.
I don't really know about the cast and what they do. All I know is the dude that voices Samurai Jack is the guy who gets his head blown off in Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
So
Phil Lamar.
Yeah. That's who voices Samurai Jack.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and Tara Strong, who's like a prominent voice actress. She plays Harley Quinn. She was on Rugrats. She's just been in a million things. She is Ashi, who's actually become like the first love interest of Jack. But who's also one of the daughters of Aku, which is like a really amazing. The story arc is great, and the 5th season wraps up a lot of things in a way that they had to do, but they probably didn't want to when they were doing the show back then. But it's written so well that I don't even care. So I think it's either the 1st or 2nd season of the show.
Yeah.
Jack, the point of the show is there's a samurai who's in the future that wants to get back to his own time. So there's time portals throughout the world that he journeys to, and when he has to find these time portals to go back to the past. But there's always something in his way. So like there's an episode where Jack finds this time portal, but there's a guardian, and the guardian can only be defeated by the warrior that's prophesized to defeat him. So lo and behold, Jack fights him. Jack gets his ass. It's one of the few times that Jack's like literally gets his ass handed to him, like pretty fucking bad. Like he doesn't lose. Like he doesn't just lose. Like it's like that kid that like lost a fight in high school. It's like it was just like one punch, he got knocked out. Like and you see that one kid that like just got his ass kicked. Like you're like, oh shit, dude, that kid better not come back to school for like a month. Like because like people are gonna rip on him. Like that happened to Jack in that episode, and like. But the way the episode ends is the Guardians about again spoilers, but this is like this is years ago. Jack, he's about to kill Jack, and then the time portal flashes, and then he stops. He goes, all right, and he calls over like this giant dragonfly and puts Jack on. And he flies away, and he goes, it's not yet your time, Jack. So Jack was the warrior prophesized to defeat him, but it wasn't his time yet. Now I don't want to spoil season 5 for you, but there's a way where they conclude that. And it's about a minute-long scene, and it's only done through visuals. They have no dialogue, and I'm telling you, it was actually done really well. If even though it's not the route that they wanted to originally take, obviously, I actually kind of liked it better that they did it that way. So even though it's different from what it was supposed to be, and like it actually made it better.
How rock hardy for Young Justice,
dude! Fucking rock hard.
6 to midnight, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember that review.
Yeah, and that's going to be on DC's streaming service.
Yep.
That they're launching.
How does that work? Is that going to be like a subscription base, or is that going to be like
no real details about
no
it
real
yet.
details yet? Is that like a fall thing? Are they planning for?
No clue.
No details yet.
There's no real
So you just
details
know it's
about it.
happening.
Yeah.
Young Justice is happening. But
Yeah.
Did
you watch Young Justice or no?
I started some of it, yeah. But I mean, I have a million shows underneath my belt.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I will never fault someone for not watching a show. It's like, dude, you probably have a backlog. Everyone has a backlog.
Everyone does. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Let us know what you think about any of the topics that we have mentioned here before. Any of them, whether you agree with us, disagree with us, your actual opinions on it, whichever you would like to do. Go buy a T-shirt, awesomesundayshow.com/T-shirts. You'll find a nice link up there. They're sweet shirts. I got them available in black and white. Definitely highly recommend you get them.
And you know what? For anybody who buys a T-shirt, you might get a special surprise. So I actually found a VHS copy of Mystic Pizza that my mom bought like years ago. Like I might just send it to you with a shirt, and it's the only copy I own. And it stars Julia Roberts, and it's a chick flick. So if you really want to see, like, wow, I really want to try to win that VHS copy of Mystic Pizza starring Julia Roberts, if you buy a T-shirt, you might get that copy of Mystic Pizza on VHS starring Julia Roberts.
Okay, yeah, you got that.
Yeah.
If you want to become a Patreon and get like cool rewards while supporting us, you go to patreon.com/awesomesundayshow or patreon.podbean.com/awesomesundayshow. Contribute, donate, get some cool rewards on the way. You'll definitely be rewarded for all of it, and we would appreciate every single ounce of it. Or even if you can't or don't want to do that, just share the links. Be friends.
Come on, just share.
Just share.
Is it so hard to hit that fucking share button?
And to close it off, want to thank our sponsors once again. Thank you, Loot Crate, for sponsoring us. If you want to save 10% on any new subscriptions, go to trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10. That's trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10 to save 10% on any new subscription.
Yeah, and guys, remember, if you want to join GameFly, but you're kind of on the fence about it, like, I want to see how it is. Folks, remember, we're here to hook you up at Awesome Sunday Show. Just go over to www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome. You get a premium free 30-day trial, one game out, specifically for the viewers of Awesome Sunday Show. Thank you, GameFly. And it is www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome.
Yes, thank you to our sponsors. And Cass, why don't you sign us off, buddy?
Have a great day, everybody. I love you all.
Great.
We love you too.